Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a review of the new Moyu Hualong 3x3. Thanks to Speedcubing.com.au for sending me this to test, along with the GANS 356, which I'm hoping to make a review for later once it's more broken in. Anyways, with that said, let's get on to the review. Out of the box, the cube felt a lot like it does at the moment, and didn't really need any breaking in or work aside from some lube on the core and pieces. The turning of the Hualong was very smooth, with a slight scratchy sound, which has since gone away with minimal breaking in, and now the cube feels just smooth with a slight clicky or clacky kind of feeling to it. Along with that, the raw speed of the puzzle was really fast, to the point where I couldn't control it properly with my turning style. But after lubing the puzzle several different ways, the problem has become less apparent, and I don't have to change my turning style much to get good results on the cube. Corner cutting usually isn't relevant these days with 3x3s, as they can all do 45 degrees with minimal effort, and smaller cuts are always a breeze. However, I think it's worth noting how ridiculous the corner cutting on the Hualong is on my fairly moderate and pretty uneven tensions. 60 degree corner cutting requires very little force on most sides and is still doable on just about any side, which maybe doesn't help the cube as much as you might think, but is still both cool and impressive. Now a little bit about the mechanism. The pieces seem to most resemble the Hualong cubes, as well as the Liying/Kong's design style cubes, resulting in basically a toned down Hualong. Now what I mean by that is everything from the wings on the edges to the middle plate on the centers has been reduced in size to resemble the Liying mechanism a fair bit, and I think this simpler mechanism is part of the reason why the cube didn't need a whole lot of break-in time to get good. Another thing to note about the mechanism is that the corners have a little empty gap around the lip, which was initially a concern for me since the Liying also had this gap, and as a result eventually made the Liying useless to me since it would constantly catch onto the center with my turning style. However, these lockups haven't been anywhere near as apparent on the Hualong, so that concern has been since put to rest. Pops, as you can probably guess, aren't an issue on the cube, and really for the last year and a half haven't been a problem with 3x3s period, since now everyone uses the same style of anti-popping mechanism where pieces lock together in a few places, which started with cubes such as the Hualong, Shuangren, and the CX3. The only problem I've had with this cube is in the stability of the puzzle. What happens is that when turning very rough and fast, which is something I'll generally do during PLL, my fingers would get stuck in between pieces, and although this wasn't a common problem on this cube, it was also a non-existent problem on other cubes, so I still think it's noteworthy. One of the main reasons for this strange instability in the cube is in the springs used. They're a bit softer than the springs in most other 3x3s, and as a result make the cube turn a lot faster and also flex a lot more. I tried to remedy this by using Hualong version 2 springs in the cube instead, and although those problems were fixed, it made the cube feel way too tactile and stiff and just not worth the trade-off. I've since switched back to the stock springs, and I've instead used lube to slow the cube down, as well as just tried adjusting to the feel of the cube in my hands. All in all, this problem isn't enough of one for me to not want to use the Hualong, and is really more something I'll just have to get accustomed to with time. For my final verdict on the cube, I have to say I'm very pleased and impressed with it. The turning and feel are both enjoyable to use, and effective for me getting fast times. Pops and lockups aren't an issue at all, and the cube didn't really take a lot of work to make good compared to something like my Hualong V2, which has been my main since spring of last year. Will this cube replace my Hualong V2? We'll see, because I'm still not sure. I'm planning on bringing it with me to my next few comps and might try using it there and see what I can get with it. That said, I highly recommend this cube to just about anyone. This cube is in many ways one of the best 3x3s you can get, and only costs $16.50 at speedcube.com.au. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.